Hello, beautiful ladies. I wanted to tell you about something that happened recently because I want to keep you safe, of course. So, there's a lot of communities in which we talk about feminine energy and other things that are women only because we need to keep ourselves safe. I like that there's a lot of groups that are women only for us to talk about these things. Because I don't think that we're in a position as women that it helps us to be fully open about everything. And that's part of how I've healed in studying feminine energy, is learning that it doesn't help us to share everything. This idea is also being more broadly talked about in our culture right now. We have the new terms trauma dumping and oversharing. And I really like that we have those terms. They at least weren't on my radar, 10, 15 years ago when I could have really used them. And certainly I was oversharing a whole lot during those times. And I feel like this current movement of feminine energy, information getting spread around, and women taking part in discussions about their own lives privately in spaces with other women, that is part of a broader cultural trend that more broadly people agreed with. Broadly, people think right now that it is correct to not have to share everything. So in one of these groups that are supposed to be women only, someone asked what to do about a man that they were dating who was a good provider but did not have the sort of body that they found was attractive. And I commented, well, my husband also does not have the sort of body that I find attractive, and he's a wonderful provider, and I have found for myself that it is better to be with someone who's a good provider than someone you're most attracted to. And this is another way I've really healed with feminine energy. And I discuss in more depth in my first video called what is that video called? It's called Lavender Marriage is Still a Real Option for Lesbian Women Today. I discussed in my first video more in depth about how I was fooled for years and years that if I was attracted to somebody, that meant I should be with them. And I have found that not to be the case, that I do need to consider my material needs. But there was someone in this group that took a screenshot and sent it to my husband. This is somebody who, first off, assumed that this was a secret I was keeping from my husband and I was a bad woman and this person needed to expose me. I don't know, perhaps to keep my husband safe or something, which is a strange position to be in because in general, it's the men in women's lives making them less safe. And he was not informed, he did not see this as soon as it was sent to him. He was looking at his spam folder in his Facebook messages for the first time and found lots and lots of spam, but one of them was this message from somebody who had violated the group rules, because these groups, say to keep whatever is talked about private in these groups. And it was very upsetting to me. I was in the room when my husband read this message, and I told him, it's upsetting, I want you to immediately delete it. And he did, which is nice. But, you know, he also, it also wasn't anything that he didn't know. He had heard from me before that I had a long history of dating people that I was attracted to, and then I was sad year after year that these were people who didn't want to marry me and didn't want to have children, and that's what I wanted. And he knew that I had married him because he was interested in marriage and children. And he's actually someone that I had at least known of for many, many years. We're in the same social circles. And I did not try out dating him until I found out, listening to what he had to say at a party, that he was actually looking to get married and have children. If I hadn't heard that, I would have never considered him as an option for marriage. He wasn't like someone that I was so attracted to that I would have gotten together with him out of attraction. But one thing that I am not as transparent about with my husband is, you know, how much I talk about feminine energy online, either in these private groups on Facebook or on other platforms, or here publicly on YouTube. And part of that is because, you know, I really love that feminine energy is treated by some people as a, you know, secret feminine art that's not to be shared with men. I really do agree with that. I don't think we're in a position where it makes sense to share what we're doing at this point. We just need to get our bag, as some of them say. Not my most favorite saying, but we need to get our bag. We need to make sure we are materially provided for. We need to make sure we feel safe. And I want women to be materially secure and to feel safe. And if that involves sometimes women keeping secrets, that is fine with me. I want you to be safe. The other reason that I'm not very upfront with how much I talk about feminine energy online with my husband is that it would actually be me in my chasing energy. So I talk a lot on this platform about basically, it could be considered complaining less. You know, I talk about, as an autistic person, sometimes I'm very specific with the things I need to be comfortable. And so to be in my receiving energy, I personally have to work on being okay with him providing in ways that are like just a little different than what I really want. But I need to still receive them in order to keep him in his chasing energy, in his providing energy. Because when I say, no, I don't want that over little things, it doesn't generally, at least energetically, cause him to provide for me differently. It, you know, energetically, he gets the signal that I don't like him providing at all. And it makes him more in his feminine and in his receiving energy. And, you know, he might think it's even very silly that I talk so much about being feminine. He thinks that I'm quite masculine. He thinks I'm quite bossy. He thinks I complain a lot. He thinks I'm very picky. You know, I do try to be in my receiving energy, but he still does know a whole lot of the time when he does something for me and it's not quite what I wanted and I'm still not happy. And, you know, I'm not going to be in my chasing energy and say, oh, I'm trying so hard to be okay with what you do with me, to be happy with what you do with me or do for me. And, you know, I just try to be happy instead of trying to prove that I'm trying to be happy. Those are two different things. Another very funny thing is that the friend of ours that introduced me to the first feminine energy teachers that I ever listened to on YouTube and got me started on this path is someone my husband like really thinks of as very masculine, and he thinks that she's very silly, that, you know, she thinks she's gonna get to be married when she wants to be married. She's planning on getting married older, and he thinks that, you know, on top of her being so masculine, if she's also gonna be so old when she gets married, nobody's gonna want her. And you know, his and my opinion about her, they overlap. You know, I'm a little worried about her thinking that she can get married older and still be so sure that she can have biological children, because that's not something that everyone is able to do when they get married older. But all the same, you know, I don't tell him, okay, well, I know you think this girl is so masculine, but actually she, you know, because of her, I know all this stuff about being more feminine, and because of this person you think is so masculine, I'm actually more feminine today. You know, I don't worry about any of that. And it's really too bad that there are people exposing people out there, you know, people pretending to be people that they're not, joining these communities and apparently just wanting to expose people. You know, it can, you know, if something like that leads to a divorce, you know, that's them, you know, possibly taking away, you know, a woman's children from having a good home to live in, which would be really unfortunate. You know, it's not them thinking, keeping the best interests of the most vulnerable people in mind, which is really disappointing. So I just wanted to let you know about this. Please keep yourself safe. If you need to, you know, you can have 2 different accounts. You know, one where you have the groups that you talk about feminine energy with, and the other where you're connected to your husband, because of course they knew how to message my husband because I used my personal Facebook account where it's, you know, lists on my profile who my husband is. Something I like to do is to have multiple internet browsers on my phone, and I'll keep different internet browsers logged into different accounts. That's how I like to do it. It's really easy. But if you use, for example, the Facebook app, you are able to toggle between different accounts. I just find it a lot more tedious than if I just keep different accounts always logged in on different browsers. And I just want to encourage you to keep yourself safe and not worry about morals with, you know, if you're being exactly truthful enough. You know, the men in our lives certainly are not as truthful as women like to be, and as neurotypical people like to be. And I've got a number of other videos that talk about ways in which we should be dialing back our own honesty for our own best interests, because we really just need to be safe and make sure that we have everything we need in life, and that's what's important. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.